Guys, we're here with Jerry. We're going to talk about these 7 group breakers. Are they still going to be breaking?
Magic Eraser. It's a game changer, and I'll tell you why. I use my finger, and in 4 seconds I click erase. Amazing. My name is Jesse, and I'm a Google Pixel.
Get Pixel 7 or Pixel 7 Pro for free with a qualifying trade-in.
Guys, we're here with Jerry. We're going to talk about these 7 group breakers. Are they still going to be breaking? Or are they going to be broke in a year's time? Jerry, let's start off with everybody's favorite backyard breaks. In a year's time, are they still going to be breaking or broke?
Well, look, let's start off with backyard breaks a year. So kind of year in review for them. They started off basically stealing that Trevor Lawrence card, which was supposed to give away.
That is a Tesla!
A lot of people thought that was really the end of their business or the end of their reputation. In fact, it was the launching point of their business and their reputation, and their profile inside of breaking only got bigger and bigger. And other breakers that we'll talk about later here on the show actually started lining up and defending them when questions about whether or not they were getting loaded cases or loaded boxes or somehow knew what was in the product. These guys all clocked in for free to defend them. So they not only got a larger profile after scamming the customer out of a 5-figure card, but they got the other competitors in the industry to carry their jockstrap and their bottle of Gatorade for them over the course of the year. So it's been a spectacular rise for Backyard Break. But I'm actually going to give a relatively hot take, which I'm going to back up with maybe some evidence is I actually think they might be broke by the end of next year, and that is because to achieve the level of success that they had over the last year actually wasn't that difficult. When we run down this competition of breakers, it's a lot of guys relatively low IQ.
That's drama.
And a lot of guys that were basically kind of grandpas in this business that have been doing it for 5, 6, 7, in some cases over 10 years. And a lot of these guys, I think, just simply rested on their laurels and watched a bunch of younger guys with a younger perspective, attracting a younger audience, and also dealing on whatnot, really captured a lot of the business. And so I actually don't think the rise to prominence wasn't that difficult to present breaks in a different way, to go to whatnot and present it in a different way. They basically kind of were a trailblazer, but what often happens after you're a trailblazer in the industry, you actually now have to stand on your own, and you are also going to be fighting off other trailblazers and other people that are going to be kind of maybe coming onto your business model as well. So I actually think it's actually a higher probability. Now, I'm not saying it's the highest probability, but I think the higher probability is actually they struggle much more in 2023, and they actually have a higher probability of actually going broke rather than kind of expanding their lead. On top of that, I probably wouldn't be saying this, and I think our opinions would change on a lot of these breakers in 2023 if you had a quarterback in football that was any good. Certainly towards the back half of next year, you'll have a new rookie class, but I watch enough college football. I don't necessarily see that quarterback or that athlete that's coming out in next year's draft. Certainly they'll be more hyped up than this year, but we don't have a lot of compelling products coming from Panini from the basketball end or the football end for that matter. And then when you look into baseball, a lot of these breakers don't do a lot in baseball. So it's going to be a lot of repack. It's going to be a lot of kind of recycled kind of mixers and one boxes here and there for backyard. And I think it's going to be difficult. I think it's going to be difficult for them to continue to expand their business. They've got other breakers and other people kind of coming onto their coattails when it comes to whatnot and the traffic that they get there. I hear all this, that Backyard Breaks all this product. They've got all these people in their stream, and I just never see evidence of it. When I pull up whatnot, sure, they have 200 people, 300 people in a room, but it's not actively just constantly ripping open packs and going through cases and cases of product. I even saw them, I was watching them one time, they panned over to where their inventory was, and it was like one little shell. I don't know if that was all their inventory, but inside of that room, yeah, there was some high dollar value, but we've been in the inventory room of other breakers on our list here, and it's way more impressive, and those breakers probably could survive for months, if not years, just based on the inventory that they have. I didn't see that over at Backyard, and obviously they that's going to change. Whether or not Panini is going to have as steady a release schedule this year certainly comes under question. And then obviously whatever Fanatics decides to do with Topps licensed products. All of this is in a big question mark, and it's in a down market, it's in a soft market. And so while Backyard Breaks has done a nice job over the last year, really kind of elevating their business in kind of a softer market, I think we're probably going to get even softer when it comes to breaks. And I don't know if their business model will really work and translate into 2023. And so I'm gonna say Backyard Breaks in 2023, probably gonna go broke.
Who wants me to take the shirt off? Alright, then. Alright, there it is. Shirt's off. Nipples. I gotta be honest, my nipples look really bad on camera. It's from this angle.
Next on the list, I feel like we have too much clothes on, but we're going to talk about Blez, which there's actually a couple different Blezes. I haven't been able to figure out which one. You have Bob the Builder Blez.
So here we go. The detectives are here and they're claiming that they have some kind of map.
Who we were kind of tangled with last week when it came to another breaker that apparently might have dipped one-of-one Bobby Witt card. But we also have Jared Blesnick, I believe as well, who has a relatively shady past when it comes to his previous engagements in the world of poker. But we're talking about Blez Sports Cards. Ryan, do you think Blez Sports Cards is going to be breaking, or are they going to be broke next year?
They've had an interesting year. Again, we became familiar with Blez after one of them took their shirt off
There it is. Shirt's off.
in, quote, the biggest break of the year with fellow breaker Lakey Sports Cards when they were opening a bunch of flawless cases, I believe chasing the LeBron triple logo man. So people became familiar with him there, at least we did. But the Jared Blesnick, boy, this guy's been shady quite a long time. He was kicked out of a WSOP event for misconduct. He's been kicked off the online poker site, PokerStars, for multi-accounting. So if the guy's willing to cheat at poker, would he cheat at your breaks? I'm not really sure. Again, the C-Blez guy, one of the biggest backyard breaks defenders out there. So we have a lot of sketchy things going on over there with the Blesnick brothers or crew or whatever we want to call them. They do have some fans. I'm sure there will be people in these very comments who say, oh, they're so nice, blah, 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 blah. We don't know them that well. Clearly, our only interactions with them is reading this dirt that was spread across Poker News several years ago about this Jared guy. Hey, maybe he can't play poker anymore, so now he's over at the sports cards trying to scam people over here. You guys can be the judge. Is he going to be broke? Is he going to still be breaking by next year? My guess is these guys are still going to find a way. They still have a little bit of a fan base. They're not tied into one of these apps that may go exclusive. They seem to be pretty nimble on their feet. They do seem to have some fan bases. It may not be their only source of income. C-Buzz is out there hustling in card shows, slinging money around, but maybe there's other sources of income. It's not like the Backyard Crew where it seems like, hey, this is life and death for them. At least the way they looked at that Trevor Lawrence card certainly was.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Holy shit!
Bottom line, with Blez, I believe these guys will still be breaking in 2023, and we shall see.
Yeah, boy, drop 'em, baby. Drop 'em. All day, kid, I'm with it.
For effortless shaving in one efficient stroke. Gillette, the best a man can get.
I think that when you cook, it comes from love, it comes from passion.
Kid, I'm with it.
Oh, we're back, guys. Oh, sorry about that. Next breaker that we're going to talk about on the list, Platinum Sports Cards.
So Platinum obviously had a very eventful year, one filled with a little bit of breaking, a little bit of felony assault as well. A lot of dirt came out about Platinum Breaks. Last time I saw is he's not pushing the weight or the product that he used to push around. He's pushing around box cutters, it seems like, a lot more than he is trading cards. Also, by last account, I saw some people saying that he has transitioned a little bit to Whatnot as well. I'm not exactly sure of his success on that platform. Ryan, obviously we had many run-ins with Platinums. He did a little bit of a dip with, I believe, a redemption card or some kind of National Treasures card or something like that. But he tried to dip into a trash bag.
He said in the chat, gee, you just threw a redemption in the garbage.
He obviously held a box cutter up to one of his employees' necks. Among other transgressions that we've heard about him in the past, Ryan, what do you say about Platinum Brakes? Do you think they will be breaking next year, or will this breaker finally go broke?
Hey, this could be just a front for some other kind of organization they got going on a platinum card. So they very well could be breaking. There may not be money coming in, but it could just be kind of a tax haven or some kind of legal business that they've got going to cover up for maybe some of the other things going on over there at Platinum Card Breaks. Hey, these guys are seemingly the cockroaches in the industry. The guy can dip a Justin Fields redemption card off cameras, and he still has fans. The guy can hold a box cutter up to his employee's neck, and he still has people defending him. So, whether they're the biggest breakers in the industry like they might have been portrayed or seen as, or perhaps were a few years ago, they certainly aren't that anymore. I don't think anybody would put them even in their probably top 2 or 3 anymore. Now, name recognition-wise, certainly they have a lot of name recognition because of the antics and the transgressions of owner G. Will they still be breaking? Quite possibly yes, because they need it as a tax haven or a front for some kind of other business they got going on over there at Platinum Cards. Jerry, you've had a lot of interactions with this guy Firehand Cards lately.
Hey guys, Chad.
He was a big doubter in the loaded box theory. He even offered us one if we could prove that the Crown Royale Kaboom theory was correct. So I think we shipped that box over to one of our haters, or we tried to get that box to a hater. But Jerry, what do you think? Breaking in 2023 or broke? This is the guy who at the very first industry summit meeting of Group Breakers, this goes back to like 2012, he, I believe, called himself the godfather of Group Breaks. He's still around to this day. Many fans, many defenders. Will Firehand Cards be breaking or broke in 2023?
Well, he certainly clocked in. He got on our radar. Obviously, he's a, quote, OG or a card father in this industry. We've been aware of him since, the beginnings of breakings back in 2011 and 2012. And he's one of these guys that have stuck around over that long period of time. And then more recently this year, he kind of got on our radar. He clocked in really quickly and, picked up the jock strap of Backyard Breaks. Again, this is after that company or Backyard Breaks ripped off a customer off a 5-figure card. That's why it was so surprising to see breakers like Firehand and Blez and others that clocked in so quickly to defend Backyard Breaks when it came to getting loaded cases and those types of allegations. So I'm not exactly sure where he'll be in 2023, but one thing I am certain of is his allocation, the amount of product that he gets will continue to get whittled down and whittled down. He doesn't seem like a fighter to me. When the Kaboom scandal was presented, I mean literally a minute or two after I was presented this information, he comes at me and saying, oh, I'll give you a box if you can prove this. There's no way. I've never seen anything like this before. Instead of having curiosity, instead of wanting to get to the bottom of it, he had his mind already made up, and he was actually willing to make a bet that he still hasn't honored, and he still owes me a Kaboom box. He still owes us a box that's probably worth $400 or $500. Those boxes might even sell close to $1,000 on the secondary market. So he puts his money where his mouth is, but he can't back it up. But my guess, this guy is going to be carrying the jockstrap in the water of some other breaker next year. He'll continue to break. He'll continue to get a certain percentage of allocation. But his business, like a lot of these OGs over the years, just keeps getting whittled down and whittled down. And it's because they're not a fighter. They're not willing to get in there. They're not willing to grind. They're not willing to put their foot on the neck of a competitor when they do something stupid or when there's any kind of allocations or allegations against them. They're actually willing to get up there and go to fend for them and kind of pick them off the mat, which really surprises me. And so, yes, I think Firehand will probably be breaking in 2023. But again, it's going to be more and more of a grind for these guys where they're going to have to work harder and harder and harder for less and less money. My guess is someone as low IQ as Firehand will probably continue that type of business instead of moving on to something that's far more profitable. But if he continues to take shots over here at Sports Card Radio, that'll be his biggest mistake in 2023.
Here we go. You
I would say, out of all of these has maybe a diversified business model is maybe not quite the term, but not maybe necessarily the modern breaker that the rest of these guys are, and that is Vintage Breaks. And what he has is a couple of streamers around the country, it appears, including our dipper-in-chief, Chris Gilmore from Vintage Breaks, who famously dipped that back, and now there's merchandise and t-shirts available for his transgressions here in the hobby. And I know that they opened up a new retail store in the New Jersey area in a very expensive retail environment. And he also is going through a divorce, and the person he is divorcing from happens to be a divorce attorney, so that doesn't seem like that great of a situation. He also has a young child as well, so it's been a difficult year for the Vintage Breaks cruise from the top to the bottom. Ryan, in 2023, where do you see Vintage Breaks? Do you see them continuing to break and get packs off camera, or will they go broke?
This is a tough one. Again, the owner, Leighton Shelton, is going through a divorce.
That's drama.
And then also, according to him, his wife is his now soon-to-be ex-wife is a divorce attorney. So that will be a very interesting thing to watch. I doubt she's going to let him off the light. And we know he has streamers across the country, including Chris Daniel Gilmore.
Why are you dip?
Will those guys still be around? I don't know. I think he's probably got to keep some semblance of the business around. He's probably more motivated than ever now that he's got a divorce proceeding hanging over his head. As far as Chris Gilmore, again, another cockroach in his industry, somebody who has been involved at the distributor level with Beachstate Sports Cards, somebody who's co-owned a forum over at Freedom Cardboard, somebody who I think for a while ran a hobby shop that went under, but here he is, still dipping packs over there at Vintage Breaks. My guess is they have enough customers to keep dipping in and buying breaks, and we will see Vintage Breaks continue to break cards into 2023. Certainly, out of all the group breakers we're going to talk about, they're probably amongst the smallest, if not the smallest. So keeping the lights on over there probably isn't saying a whole lot, but as long as Leighton Shelton's wife doesn't bilk him for too much money, the doors should still be open over at Vintage Breaks.
You dip?
That was the year-end wrap-up show of breakers and the predictions on whether or not they'll be continuing to break or go broke into next year. One thing is for certain, here on Sports Card Radio, will we not be scared at all to keep track of the situation and to monitor it and make sure that if anything shady happens, like dipping packs, resealing packs, or let alone holding box cutting knives to your employees' necks, we'll certainly be here to cover it for you all here on the channel. Thanks for tuning in to this show. Be back again soon with more.
You dip?
Kia, movement that inspires.
Sports Car Radio, and especially the haters, this video is going to be for you. Today, on Forest Views, it's Broker Hope time, where we've got a list of names here. Many of them have been hating on Sports Card Radio, some passively aggressively, like Jeff Wilson, some of them a little bit more in your face, like Jason from Mojo Sports Autographs. So we're going to do a little game here that we're calling Hope or Broke. By the end of the year, do these list of names have any hope of still being in business and thriving here in the sports card industry, or will they be broke, looking for a job and potentially cleaning pools during the summertime, like our boy Sasha T of that pH level? Check it. Let's kick things off, Ryan. I've got first on the list, HGA Grading. I'm going to say broke. You're going to say broke. I'm going to say broke as well, and I have some reasoning behind that. I believe that the Beckett Grading, and then you have SGC, and you have CSG, and obviously you have PSA as well. They've been overwhelmed with a backlog of cards. We're seeing that backlog start to alleviate. Certainly at Beckett, I think, sent out an email to customers
they're starting to take submissions. At some point, the backlog's gonna alleviate, and then they're gonna be driving back business. The way they're gonna drive back business is by dropping their prices. The minute the top tier grading companies, and top tier is probably in quotes, because many of these companies, as you know, are involved in many scandals, including trimming the cards, and authenticating cards that aren't real, authenticating autographs that aren't real as well. Obviously, none of them, as we would call them, professional, but the top tier will likely lower their prices and, in my opinion, squeeze out an HGA likely by the end of the year.
I have some reasons too. I mean, they use printing equipment that is literally used. They have one Adobe. They don't have a professional Adobe account. They have one employee who runs around and like logs people in like one at a time because like they don't want to pay for the Adobe account. So we've heard from numerous former employees and just little things, former graphic designers. Now, I think they even were going to open 3 locations, and my guess is that didn't come to fruition. And I think, what's the guy's name? Tyler was going to hire, he said, 10 to 50 people a week. Guarantee that hasn't come to fruition. Now, I think they did post something on social media the other day. I think there were people who were worried that they were indeed broke because they're literally behind on orders. They've limited the orders they've taken, and they haven't even capped out on those because they never wanted to get backlogged. But here we are, and HGA is literally like running at a 6-month backlog if you look into it. People that have submitted stuff, that was like 6 months ago. There probably isn't a whole lot of people that, I think they had 3,500. They had 3,500 orders that they were going to take the other go round, and I think only 1,000 had gotten taken. So about a third of what they wanted to be able to handle. And again, they were going to open 3 locations and hire 10 to 50 people a week. So yeah, bro. Well, and all you have to do is listen to that guy Tyler talk for about 2.5 seconds, and you realize that company's never going to have. And he makes Joe Orlando look like William Shakespeare or something. So. Who's next on our list? Well, next on the list, Star Stock. Ooh, I'm gonna say end of the year. By the end of the year, 9 months.
Did you know Google makes a phone? Sure, it's beautiful, but it does things other phones can't do, which is how it helps take annoying items out of pictures. Introducing the newest Google Pixel phones. Switch now. Get Pixel 7 or Pixel 7 Pro for free with qualifying trade-in.
The website is still up in 9 months, but obviously, I think you can go to their website and look at the sales or whatever, and there's nobody buying cards. There's no bids or buying prices. So there's no hope, but my guess is the website's still up. I mean, the pit.com is still up after all these years, so. And that is a good assessment, but I'm going to say broke because I think they have investors backing them, and those investors, I think, already have showed that they've run out a little bit of a patience. The fact that they had to pivot so hard away from trading cards after they made some big splash into it, raised money, hired a bunch of people, did a lot of marketing around sports trading cards, and they've done a hard pivot off of that. I'm sure investors are willing to give them a quarter, maybe 2 quarters into the summertime, where they're expecting to see results after that hard pivot. They hard pivoted into NFTs, which might be more competitive and more watered down than even the trading card business. And so I don't think they're going to find success into what they're pivoting to. If they had this magical thing that they were going to pivot to, I would maybe expect them to be around. I think the only upside for this company is they get bought out. Is somebody buys them for their customer inventory and their customer list. But look, Check On My Cards doesn't need it because most of the people that have accounts on StarStock already have accounts on Check On My Cards. And any of these other companies aren't necessarily flush with that much cash. I think investors are just going to pull the plug and kick these guys to the curb. I'm going to say StarStock going to be broke by the end of the year. We'll give them 9 months, 9 lives left to live. Next on the list, a channel favorite, Jeff Wilson, sports card investor. What do you say about Jeff? Jeff is probably going to fail like he did his NFT project, probably a dozen more times. I mean, his NFT project was a disaster. I don't know if you guys know. He literally sold 20 NFTs. I mean, his idea to sell video clips of group breakers opening big clips and sell those as NFTs might go down as one of the worst ideas in the history of sports cards. So he's going to have some more failures, but this guy seems to be able to pull money out of his butt one way or the other. I mean, he bought into these worthless little cell phone grading accessory companies the other day to the tune of like 6 figures. He's hiring 20 people who seemingly do nothing all day. So I think he's not going to be broke. I think there might be hope for him because maybe he just keeps throwing money at something and eventually maybe he does hit a home run. His Market Movers app, that's a loser. There's no way people pay money for that when you can get everything on that app essentially for free. And with cards declining in value over the last 12 months, 13 months, who the heck wants to pay for, it's like, what do you need to pay $25 a month for to tell you that your cards are going down in value? So the guy has actually not hit that many home runs and has not had that many success. My guess is this money is coming from other successes and other businesses, and maybe there's pricing like a tax write-off or a WIC or a HOPE or to keep, I don't know if he has a son where he does box breaks with his son. It's probably something to, to keep his kid involved and so forth. And he probably just tries to build multiple companies, and he probably sees a lot of promise in sports cards. I think he's still going to be around. I don't think he's going to be broke because, again, the money just seems to fly out of this guy's butt. So I think there's hope for Jeff because he's also, he'll fail at NFTs, but then he's firing 6 more figures at us. What's it called? The whatever the cell phone accessory grading thing he bought the other day for 6 figures. So, he's just going to keep firing until he hits 1 or 2. So, what do you think? Well, with him, I think his content, if he doesn't get burnt out on content, or if he doesn't let the criticism that is going to come whenever you put yourself out there, you're going to receive a lot of criticism, especially in the position he puts himself in, where he's telling people what to buy, telling you what to sell, telling you what's going up, what's going down. He's going to put him in the position where he's going to receive a lot of criticism, and he's already shown that he's had a little bit of a thin skin with that. And so if he lets that get to him, I think his #1 success story is his channel, is his ability to put up content 2 to 3 days a week, which, look, I don't care the quality of your content, I don't care what you're talking about. You could be talking about dust, or you could be talking about trading cards. To do it 2 to 3 times a week for several years like he has been is an absolute success, and probably something that I personally would just double and triple down on, because like you said, everything else he touched has turned to stone and crumbled. And so, I think we're right. I think he's not going to find success in other parts of this hobby, but if he continues to churn out the content here on YouTube, he'll have a little bit of a success with that. Now, if he's got editors and writers and producers on that, he's not going to make any money based on the views that he's getting and based on how much money you can make, even with sponsorships from eBay or some other companies that might want to sponsor him. He's not going to make any money off of it, but at least he can keep it going and have that as something that he has. But I've seen a lot of YouTube creators, especially in the stock market space over the last 2 years, really get burnt out and really take the criticism and take what people say about them and their stock picks to heart. And they end up, one guy that I knew actually quit today, or at least supposedly quit today. So those things can happen, and I think as long as he doesn't do that, he'll be in this hobby. He'll be like a cockroach like we are and be in this hobby for as long as he really wants to be. Next on the list, another fan favorite of Sports Card Radio, and somebody that I'm sure would love to see us at a trading card event, and that is Sasha T. What do you think about Sasha T? I think with Sasha T, he's, aside from selling a fake Lamar Jackson autograph, which he probably didn't do intentionally, he's really never done anything shady in the sports card world. He's a young guy. He hustles. He's connected to Rob Deers over at Burbank Sports Cards. And hey, if you ever have heard Rob Deers give a talk about sports cards, it's pretty inspiring. And I know he's taken him to the back room there at Burbank Sports Cards and kind of said, hey, Sasha, hey, forget about these stupid slabs. And there's all these 10-cent to $5 and $20 cards that people are on my website, thousands.
Welcome to Casper. This is where dreams begin. Here, a cozy night's sleep is crafted piece by piece, helping you relieve the day's pressures
cards that people are on my website, you know, thousands of times over looking to buy these cards. And look, I mean, Burbank's cards is up to like 2 stores. Rob Diaz is a really fun guy to hear talk about. He's very inspiring, and he talks about, you know, the technology he uses in his store and how he keeps things organized. And so, because Sasha is closely connected to him, I think there's definitely hope for him. And the fact that he's a young guy, and the fact that he hasn't done anything really shady to our knowledge, I think there's a lot of hope for him. And, you know, depending, you know, what his level of cash flow and his funding and how he's able to stay connected to people, I think there's a lot of hope for him to be a well-known and successful dealer in the sports card world. Well, I'm not going to be as nice. If he's living at home with his parents, he probably can afford to do this, essentially what amounts to being a side hustle, at least here in California. Maybe some of you guys that live out in the middle of nowhere, the states that people just like to fly over and not actually visit and make money and build a family and a home. Well, you know, out here in California, you got to be making some money, okay? It doesn't matter where you live. It used to not be the case, but out here in California, you got to be up in that 6 figures if you want to live in that comfortable lifestyle. Otherwise, you're going to be living that broke lifestyle. And so, yeah, maybe he's around in the hobby in 9 months, but he's still going to be living that broke lifestyle, where he's, you know, it might look like he's got some cards, and it might look like he's, you know, made a couple $100 here and there. But guys, out here in California, a couple $100 ain't going to cut it. And eventually, he's going to get a little bit older. He's going to want to move out of mommy and daddy's place. He might want to meet a girl and might want to start a family and things like that. And quite frankly, you can't be hustling $60 cards on Instagram and pay the bills. That's just a fact, okay? We've experienced that ourselves. I've certainly experienced it with having a family and things like that. If all I survived on was my trading cards, I'd probably be out trying to clean pools as well. So Sasha T is going to be what I would call card broke by the end of the year. He's still going to be in business because he's still going to have mommy and daddy paying the vast majority of his overhead expenses. But the minute he wants to get out on his own, that's when Sasha T will vanish or pivot into something else. And look, I think he has personally, I think he has the hustle and the drive. He should forget about these stupid trading cards and go make some real money on some of this other stuff. Okay, we've certainly been examples of that as well. We've talked enough about it here on the channel. The other stuff that we're out here hustling and trading, sure, we're on this channel talking about trading cards. But, you know, my other channel here on YouTube has 100,000 subscribers because that's where the money is. Moving on to this another just absolute stone cold fan favorite. Everybody out there is on the edge of their seat watching this video, I guarantee you right now. And they're wondering who the next name is, and that is Jason from Mojo Autographs. We're not talking about Mojo Break. We like those people. Doug and Dan and the whole team over at Mojo Break had a great time with them at the Tops Conference and had a great time meeting up with them. Anytime we're with them. Mojo Breaks, Mojo Sports, we love what they're doing over in San Jose, but this Jason guy is piggyback off their success in this hobby, and word is that he might get in a little trouble with that. We'll keep that for another time. That might be our next video. We'll see what happens there. But Jason from Mojo Sports, who famously waved his finger at us, and then all of a sudden was crying in 2 successive videos on his own channel. We basically made a grown man cry. What do you think about Jason from Mojo Sports Autographs, whatever he wants to call himself, in terms of being in the hobby? Broke, or is there hope? I'm less bullish on Jason than I was Sasha T, because Jason, I mean, he doesn't seem like he has the flippers mentality. It seems like he more likes the attention that he gets off YouTube and the people that watch his videos and stuff, and maybe going around to these card shows. Plus, that gets really expensive. And not to toot my own horn or our own horn, but I'm one of the pioneers of going to card shows and shooting videos. I literally have some of the first videos and some of the longest videos from card shows dating back to probably some of you guys weren't even born yet. And I guarantee about at least 60 to 70% of the people that are watching this video weren't even collecting cards in 2012 when I first started putting up videos, traveling around to card shows and putting up videos. And yeah, if you look at those videos today, they're garbage. That's because cell phone technology sucked. Nobody had any idea how to shoot videos at
car shows, because again, I was a pioneer and one of the first people to do it. I didn't realize that you literally have to walk around at snail's pace shooting this stuff. And I have no professional photography experience. But like I was saying, I'm one of the pioneers of going around to car shows and shooting videos. And this guy, Mojo Sports, or whatever his name, Jason, he's...
What's up, man?
Jason, first of all, he lives with mommy and daddy. Those
Little bit.
Those pictures that he takes out by the pool, he showed Kevin Durant autograph, he showed it by the pool. That's his mommy and daddy.
He probably got that just done cleaning it. So he was like very happy with
How well he did. He
Yeah.
just got done with his chores, and he got rewarded, and with his allowance money, he bought a Kevin Durant autograph. And he travels around doing these car show circuits, sets up probably these, presumably a lot of these fake deals, and shows you guys, oh, it's $10,000 deal. Bull crap. Stop it. Sasha T flips more.
Not a hell of a lot, but some. Yeah.
Will this guy be broke? Probably not, because mommy and daddy bailed him out of damn near prison. You check one of our videos about that. If you want to learn more about Jason, got plenty of info on him. Again, he was the one wagging his finger at us when he was the one facing, what was it, like 20 felonies or whatever it was?
Yeah.
So,
Still on probation.
still on life probation for that, by the way. Guy could get in trouble any minute one of these car shows selling fake God knows what. So he'll be around because his parents fund his lifestyle. He lives with them clearly. This guy lives in Sacramento and has a swimming pool in his backyard. That's a $500,000 house, $600,000 house. He's not paying for that traveling around to Tennessee and Texas to these stupid car shows, paying somebody else to film him. It's all mommy and daddy's money. And at some point, he'll have to, pull his big boy pants up and do something real. But he's enjoying the attention. I don't think he's like a business card flipper like Sasha T is. I'm more impressed with Sasha T than I am Jason from Mojo Autographs or whatever. So, I don't know. What do you think about her?
Well, I feel the same way about him. He's out here in California. If you want to make money out here in California and not be eating mac and cheese and macaroni and ketchup, you have to make over 6 figures out here. That's just the bottom line. I mean, if you want to drive a nice car, live in a nice neighborhood, not be worried about getting shot, not worried about getting robbed. Quite frankly, you either need to live at home with your mom and dad, who've brought in the big bucks, or you need to bring them in yourself. And he's not capable of doing it at the current time. And certainly, I think at some point he'll meet a girl or want to change his lifestyle, move out, get an apartment, whatever it might be. And he's going to have to, get a little more serious about making money at that point. When that is, who knows? But I would say there is hope for him in the hobby, but only as long as his mom and dad are paying his bills. Next one here on the channel, our boy, I just drew a blank on his name, our boy that does the YouTube videos on the Logan Paul, Rattle Pokemon, I just pulled it out of my butt. Rattle Pokemon, our boy, our just best of best friends. I was just texting him 10 minutes ago. So he's been doing a lot more videos about the Logan Paul. I think he looked at his YouTube video counts and his view counts, and he was like, maybe I should post more videos about what got me the most views and most subs last month. And that was the Logan Paul scandal, but more specifically, yeah, he's been talking about Jamil Muhammad of Mealy Pups Card Shop, who we did not see. A lot of you guys out there say, oh, we're tough behind the camera, but we don't show up at card shows. Guess what? We have videos where we've been at card shows recently for 5 years. Yeah, oh, you ain't gonna show up. You ain't gonna show your face. Well, a month ago, both of us, and myself included, was in Arizona. We went all the way to Arizona to an event where Mealy Pups has been card collector too. Isn't he some big sports card shop owner? Shouldn't he have been see any of you guys there. It was crickets, and including somebody that was not there was Jamil Muhammad of Mealy Pops, who originated or was one of the originators of this Pokemon case that ended up in the hands of Shine, that ended up in the hands of Logan Paul, ended up in the hands of BCE, and then ended up containing G.I. Joe trading cards. What do you think about Mealy Pops? Since he has been rather quiet since his G.I. Joe encounter.
He's been rather quiet, and I think the recent videos from Rattle Pokemon, kind of show a guy that's been in hiding. And that, is pointing the finger in other directions. Apparently, Mealy Pops was, a $500,000 winner on this case of cards that they sold to Shine for, I think it was like $2.3 million or something. And so there's another guy who owes Shine and owes the community over $1 million. He's gone missing. Apparently there's lawyers involved and people are trying to help get money back, and even people have contacted, I guess, Rattle Pokemon to, find this thing. So I guess they're trying to find the original seller and blah, 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 blah. And it sounds really bad. And the fact that Mealy Pops has kind of gone silent, and this is a guy that's always out front, and I'm sure he's been on his social channels and with a smiley face and, looking like he hasn't had a haircut in 6 months, but this is a guy who took a $500,000 hit, who made that $500,000 in March and April and then had to pay it back in January. That hurts, because he reinvested that money, or his wife, has a new set of something to show for it. So that money was probably spent, and so that hurt. He probably had to take out a loan or liquidate a whole bunch of stuff. So we're not going to see that guy prancing around probably anytime soon at any kind of card show, unless he's going to keep a real low profile. Profile. I think there's hope for him to stay in business because he does get allocation with the card company, so that might keep him in business a little bit with Panini. He did have some big cards that presumably is worth some money, so he has either some financing or some money coming in, or maybe had previously been successful. But he took a $500,000 hit to start the year in a declining market. There is a chance that, his doors are closed by the end of the year, absolutely. Because a lot could happen. He's going to have to keep spending money to grow his business, and to take that $500,000 hit, he's now has legal bills on top of that. We don't even know what else is going on behind the scenes. And then just personally, now every time you see this guy, I was hoping to see him in Arizona because I was going to ask him, hey, you got any first edition Pokemon? Or, hey, where's your boy JG? Or, just make a funny comment. Just chirp at these guys because they deserve it. They literally pranced around for 20 minutes on a YouTube video bragging about how much money he made. And they had that thing at BBCE for an hour. And there's another guy that should be embarrassed. Maybe we'll talk about him. But so there's hope for Mealy because he's been semi-successful presumably, or he at least had some funding. But $500,000 hit to start the year. I'm 50-50 on whether there's hope or growth there.
Would you say that Jamil Muhammad looks like Sasha T?
Well, I'll edit that out. So
I won't answer that. The cupcakes and the fruitcakes that watch this video, we'll spare you guys. You guys can go back in mommy and daddy's room and cuddle up with your pacifier. I don't have a lot to add there. Look, he clearly made an error here. Whether or not he pays for it with his business, I think it's probably a little too soon to tell. I don't think his issues with this are over, and we'll see how he comes out on the other side. I would say there's probably hope for him, just because the card community is so forgiving. They don't give a crap. If you're $5 less than the next guy that has a pristine reputation, He's a small guy. BBCE, who you just previously mentioned, broke or hope for BBCE?
Hope, because we've seen over the years that, you know, the sports card world doesn't matter really what you do. You could, you know, hold a gun to your child's head and you're still gonna have Steve Hart wrap your case because, you know, just have to. That's just what you do. So there's certainly hope for him because, you know, guys are still gonna go to him and still trust him because that's just what these idiots do in the sports card world. They trust guys blindly like Steve Hart, who knew nothing about Pokemon cases, knew nothing about Pokemon really at all, and self-admitted that. That he literally didn't know anything, and never wrapped a Pokemon case, didn't know anything about it. Spent an hour with these two jokers, Mealy Pops and JG, let them convince him basically to wrap it and throw him some money or maybe a Harley. And, you know, here we are. So, but there's definitely hope for him, because I guarantee his business hasn't slowed down. He wraps pack or he authenticates packs for PSA. They probably haven't fired him, or at least you haven't heard that. So, certainly hope for him. I'm sure business is going to be good. He'll have his little setup at the National. I had video of BBC tables at the National dating back to 2013 or 2014. Some of the most popular videos we've ever done on our channel. So I'm very familiar with them, and I've talked to him before. So there's hope for him. I certainly wouldn't trust anything that was without BBC, sports cards, Pokemon, anything. But that's just the way the sports card world is. There's definitely always hope for crooks and people who don't know what they're doing, but are in a position of power and authority.
There's big hope for him. In fact, I would even go on the side of that. His business is probably going to start thriving. People saw that you could get G.I. Joe packs past them, and all of a sudden you turn a box that's worth, you know, $80 into $4 million. Yeah, that's going to give the idea to about 300 people in this hobby that are all going to stop trimming cards and try faking packs, faking sealed wax, and go get it by them, and then go put it in a heritage auction and be good. So I don't think it's not hope or broke. It's how much money he's going to make, because people saw how terrible he is at this. But the fact that you've got a bunch of card fondlers in this industry that take a little piece of plastic around a box that he had no experience looking at, and he did 30 minutes of internet research instead of chumming it up with Jamil and the other guy he was with, he probably could have authenticated it, but he didn't. He just put a plastic wrap around it, and he got $3 million for it. So his business is going to thrive. But, you know, I'm sure there's people watching this that are trying to figure out, you know, their next shipment into them. Next one.
My mother gave me this ring when I was going through a really hard time in my life. And when she was going through a hard time, she had to pass on this ring because, you know, we're always there for each other. It's our sisterhood. Bold reflections, inspired by your extraordinary love stories. Jerry, love brilliantly.
Their next shipment into them. Next one, very interesting. Maybe not, our fans out there might not be as familiar with this, but one of the biggest haters of what we're doing here on the channel, and I get the sense from this guy, like our success and our access to just the minor parts of this hobby eats at this guy's soul so much. Like when I was at the Topps event, I had numerous people come up to me and just talk about how this guy was just burning. He was like having an ulcer in his stomach, just rotating. It's like he was downing acids. It was just getting worse and worse. This guy absolutely hates us. I'm not exactly sure why. I don't really care. In fact, I don't really care. I don't care why he hates us. The hate is as good as love in the entertainment business. But this is Michael Fruitman of, I can't remember his name, Stadium Clubs. Mike Stadium Sports Cards. I don't want to say Stadium Clubs. In Colorado. Somebody that we've had interactions with over the years, sometimes positive, more recently, mainly negative with him. And what do you think about the odds of Mr. Fruitman being hopeful or brokeful?
I almost feel like you should take this one first because you've gotten, you know, very close to this, you know, man.
But that's true.
Personal space, at least. So, what do you think, Michael Fruitman? I mean, his shop has been around, gosh, since it's got to be at least 15, 20 years old. Could be a lot older than that, actually. So, you know,
how nice your store looked, okay? They didn't want you to have a flea market kind of grungy looking store. And by all accounts, I have not stepped foot in Aurora, Colorado. You couldn't pay me, quite frankly, to go there. But if I were, I would probably skip its card shop as well. But I do know individuals on a close basis that have stepped foot into his card shop more recently, really in the last, I think, 6 to 12 months. And they say it reminds you of those disaster card shops where there's stuff all over the place, there's no organization, there's just kind of a flea market type atmosphere. And Josh Luber specifically said those aren't the hobby shops they're looking to deal with anymore. Josh Luber comes from kind of the boutique sneaker business. That is more the avenue that they're starting to look at with trading cards. They also talked about how, they talked about this a lot, but gave no real specifics of it, and a lot of these dumbasses in the room really don't understand what he's talking about, but they want the, quote, data that you get from your customers in your store. They want to know the age, the gender. They want to know who's buying, what they're buying, how often they're buying it. That requires a lot of technology, and it requires a lot of effort, but all accounts, most of what Mike Fruitman is doing is stuff from the 1980s on a, or rather benign cash register. I don't even think he has a website. He's figured out how to use social media, but if you look at what he's posted and things like that, it doesn't get a lot of traction because he doesn't really know how to cater to the social media crowd out there. So I think he's a little bit jealous from us from that sense as well. The fact that we're not in this kind of 20-something-year-old crowd, but we're still able to garner audience and hold people's attention. And so I actually think he's going to be pushed out the door with Topps. They talked about how they were going to release some new standards with their shops in 60 to 90 days. I guess we're coming up on that sometime next month. We'll get the word on that. But my guess is his allocation of Topps is probably going to go to the Brogue side. How he maintains the relationships with Panini, how he maintains selling whatever kind of inventory he does. I think he probably could potentially do that. But I think his status as a influencer inside of Topps' business through the hobby shops is going to go out the window because you're going to have people that have reinvested or bought new card shops or just renovated them and made them a lot nicer. That's the direction Topps is going with. You look at their DA Cardwell partnership. They opened, I haven't seen pictures of the shop, but I can imagine it's going to be a really nice looking shop in Cooperstown with DA Cardwell a part of that. That's the direction that Topps is going to go, and they're going to go the route. I've seen the pictures of some of these. I think we've even seen Card Collector 2's card shop. I mean, some of these guys, I've seen Really Pops' card shop. And while we've criticized these guys in one sense, their shops look really nice. It looks like a great atmosphere. Looks really, if I was a brand like Topps or Upper Deck or any of these companies, I would be happy to partner with these people that have invested that kind of money, created that kind of atmosphere, and created that kind of space. Just like Nike is not going to partner with a flea market seller or somebody that's just kind of ragtagged their shop together. That's the direction Topps is going in. So I would say Michael Fruitman more than likely will have some hope, but it's not going to be with Topps.
I agree. I mean, yeah, to the same points as you. He has hope because he's been around so long, and so long, and there's some charm to the flea market card shop, and that kind of the owner who attracts people in. And I'm sure he has a great local following there, people who know he's been there for a long time, and I'm sure he buys and sells a lot of stuff. But I think he sees himself as something bigger. He wants to be acknowledged from Topps, acknowledged from us to a degree as kind of this, pioneer hobby shop guy, or, he kind of like Jason from Mojo Sports, wants to be liked from other hobby shop owners. So he has hope because he's going to stick around and get like the credits and work a second job just to
character. That's not according to me. That is the comments, but that is, I don't even know the guy's name. Card Collector 2.
Okay, again, there's still hope for this guy, because he goes around with these cards. First of all, he has a legitimate card shop and a business that does get traffic and presumably has revenue. So he's not like Jason from Mojo Sports who travels around to these card shows and kind of wins it on a table and he's using mommy and daddy's money. Now maybe Card Collector sees he's using mommy and daddy's money, but he's at least built a semblance of a real business. And from what I heard, he goes to these card shows and these kids basically walk up to him almost starstruck and he hands them stuff basically to freaking, hand them the deal. So he's worked himself into a position where, people are going to come to him and basically want to sell them their cards at a discount just to get close to the guy. For some reason people, you've got to have this factor among the card collecting community that people are literally drawn to him that have never met him, never talked to him, never been in his shop. I've heard there was a guy with nonsense on the ringer or whatever. He was like, I met Card Collector for 8 seconds and I trust him and da-da-da. I was thinking to myself like, well, you guys better not do that with every guy you meet in the sports card world. Holy Jesus Christ. So, there's hope for him because, again, he has a semblance of a business. It does seem like he hustles. He does do a lot of buying and selling and trading. He was running this little, Ponzi scheme with Mark's cards, where he said he had like 5 or 6 people working on this, subgrading business. So, he hustles. There's probably money coming in and out, and as long as he, stays on his feet, doesn't take another 6-figure hit, Ponzi scheme, the $100,000 hit he took wasn't as bad as the $500,000 hit he just Mealy Pop hit. So I'm more encouraged with Card Collector 2 than I would be Mealy Pop, only because his scam didn't cost him, as much money. So I think there's hope for him. I think he's going to be in business, and long term, probably growth, but I think definitely term in the Gary Vee kind of generation where he's going to be fine.
I don't know much about him. I just know that Mark's card collection. I've seen images of him. I have seen him talk about his card situation. I've seen him refer to buying on an accountant to help him make this decision to deal with them. I think he's incredible. He continues to self-evaluate and realize the mistakes he's made and try to improve on it. And there's certainly hope in that. Mike Fruitman, how long that I mean, yeah, he's had to work, jobs to keep the lights on, but maybe this is kind of passion to do that. I'll just say that there's absolute hope for him, but long term, like you said, I think he'll go by the wayside. Next one, very, very large to the channel. We've been involved in lawsuits, not directly being sued by him, although he certainly has threatened that. But we were called to testify against him in a lawsuit. So we were called as expert witnesses in a case involving Leafs Brian Gray. Hope broke for Brian after 2022 is over.
I mean, there's hope for him because he's one of these cockroaches, and I could see him when all this Fanatic stuff kind of comes together, and he gets kicked out the door, and he's still trying to be off on the side, creating stuff for breakers, creating stuff for distributors, and really kind of being a single card hustler. He's a hustler. I've seen him at the Nationals, wheeling and dealing, have a line, kind of like Card Collector 2. A lot of people want him to sell him cards. Sometimes that's a really good deal. So anytime you have that, a lot of people willing to sell you cards at a price you feel like you can afford to turn over, I feel pretty good about it. And let's not to mention his connection with Joe Clemens is still his current employee who has a black label connection in PGS, and we still don't know how that relationship works, and maybe to this day still benefits from. So he's getting free money in that regard, and so anytime you're getting kind of a handout and a leg up, I think there's definitely hope. I think he'll still be in business, and this next pudding. He'll still be in business, and we'll see long term what Fanatics decides. rather than see this guy in a business and let him hang around. So I think that's long term what he's got to think about. Will Ruben and Josh Ruben want this guy around? We've seen Upper Deck try to, really strong on him and almost put him out of business. That's in court document. It's not me saying that. That's literally in court document saying that this Upper Deck lawsuit that we were called to testify in could have put me out of business. So I'm assuming Ruben and Fanatics have enough money and lawyers and might to do the same thing. So if I were Ryan Gray, I'd be very, 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 that'd be the top of my list and probably do sleep over that. And, so yeah, so probably not broke because I don't think they're going to do that this year, but, if we look out to 2025, the legal bills over these trading cards could outweigh anything they bring in monetary-wise.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with that. I think there's hope for them this year, but longer term, you just see the track record of what Fanatics has done. They have consolidated whatever it was, from t-shirts to jerseys to hats to trinkets to whatever, and they basically just sue everybody else and strong arm everybody else out of that business. And that's what he's going to do in trading cards. He's not in that mode right now because they're still trying to feel things out. We talked about it on my videos that I did from the Topps convention. They're still like hiring management over there. So like they haven't even gotten the strategy kind of laid out and the blueprint figured out. Then comes execution. They're going to create a management level, create a blueprint, create some goals, try to execute on that. Once they start doing that, then yeah, they're going to start looking around the industry and looking to see who they'll eliminate, and Brian Gray will be near the top of that list. You can guarantee that, Brian. I know you're watching, since you do let me know that you tune in. Appreciate that. Backyard breaks. Hope or broke for these gentlemen. I don't even know if they're still around.
Hey, look, there's hope for these guys, because you guys would buy cards from Jeffrey Dahmer if he had the stuff you wanted. So, I mean, let's be real. So there's really hope for anything in the sports card world. If you get something hot, you get something that these people want. So there's definitely hope for them. I saw the Zero Cool Cards retweeted them the other day because they pulled a Gary Vee autograph. So they're getting love from the industry. People, presumably didn't know or forgotten about, the Trevor Lawrence gold Kaboom scandal and some of the other things they've been involved with. But so certainly hope for them because, somebody could kill your kids and you guys would still buy a slap from them if it was something needed. So definitely hope.
I'm gonna agree with that. Last one, and probably in terms of people that we've talked about and bashed on this channel, we've really taken it hard to the paint on this company and dunked and then stolen the ball and then dunked on them again. And it's because they continually make mistakes, and then companies like eBay end up dunking on them as well, and that of course is PWCC. Is there hope, or are they going to be broke by the end of 2022?
Again, another cockroach company. I'm going to say there's hope for them. I haven't bought anything from them since they got kicked off eBay. I've looked at their website a little bit and looked at some of the auctions because again, I'm not opposed to buying something from a crook too if I think I can make a nickel off of it. So I'll just run them out. I mean, there's obviously hope. People are still for some reason sending them cards, which I just think is bizarre because you do have other options, and I just think that they have such a they're not even on eBay. I don't know. I just think the audience for their cards have probably dropped off a little bit in some of their auctions, but they do run a like if you buy something from them, it's usually shipped pretty professionally, quickly, and not a whole lot of issues. So I haven't ever had a whole lot of issues with buying stuff from them in the past. Again, it's been quite a long time because I haven't bought anything since they got kicked off. But there's obviously hope. We'll have at least a 12 episode special of them in a couple months. So, but that'll probably just strengthen their position. And I mean, they'll become more well known, and more people log in and send codes in.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's hard for me to really predict what's happening with them because I'm not into kind of buying and selling. But I tell you what, as long as they're allowing shield bidding, and I can imagine they are. I can imagine on the premier auction or whatever they're running, there's shield bidding going on, or there's funny business in the back. And like you said, in this hobby, anytime you can make an extra nickel on a trading card, on your own platform. Look, there's not much, you know, already got kicked off eBay, so, you know, I have to assume that what they were doing there was pretty serious. It's likely continuing. And we know at this company, and some of it comes from here in the sport, who had no regard for the hobby or the board. So, and those people are still there running the company, and the same people that were allowing shipbuilding and allowing the trimming of cards and so on and so forth, they're still there. And so, as long as you can send your card to PWCC, put your reserve in there and bid it up, people are going to send up cards. We hope for PWCC. But there's no hope for the rest of the video because that is it again. Enjoy this one. We'll be back again. Check my pH level, bitch.
Today on Sports Card Investor, we have a very special episode for you. This past Sunday, we released a video where we feature the collection of Marshall Fogle. It's one of the biggest and best collections of sports cards and memorabilia in existence. And we were very happy to bring you that video this past Sunday. When we went to go film that video, Marshall said that he wanted to share a lot of his insights around how he was able to build such a large collection, and he wanted to share thoughts and tips that may inspire the next generation of collectors and might inspire you to build that type of collection yourself over time. So I sat with him for a long period of time. We talked for hours, and today we're showing most of that interview. We're releasing a full-length cut of my conversation with Marshall Fogle. It's a long interview, but trust me, it's worth it. There's so many nuggets and insights you're going to get from this. So sit back, relax, grab a cup of coffee or a beer, or listen to this on the podcast version, and enjoy this interview with Marshall Fogle. Marshall, this is an honor. Thank you for having me here today, and I'm looking forward to learning from you about how you have built the greatest collection of sports cards and memorabilia, I think, to ever exist. Do you think it's the greatest collection?
Well, before I say that, I want to thank you for coming, and we had a chance to meet and greet before we had the interview, and I certainly enjoyed the experience that you had in your life and successes that you had. Had an opportunity to meet the crew, and we're going to have one hell of a good time. And in my opinion, I think I have the most collection. Sure. I don't think there's anybody that collects who think they have the best collection. But I have, I'm probably up there.
Yeah, 100%, absolutely.
Thank you for the compliment.
Yeah, and the range of the collection is absolutely incredible. You see a variety of different types of pieces today from your collection, but you've got everything from Type 1 photographs to gloves to, of course, unbelievable array, including that iconic, the best Mickey Mantle toss card in existence.
Yeah, and I like sharing. I've done a lot of things with the museum, the community to enjoy it, and I'm going to enjoy this interview. I'm these days talking about camera. It's supposed to educate the people that not only go into the last cent business, but as a hobby, just to have a good time with it and enjoy collecting their memories, the people that watch play ball and the people that they are icons in the sports world that are no longer with us. So let's keep the game on and have a hell of a good time.
I like it. Well, before we start seeing some of the pieces, I'd love to hear the story again about how you got into this to begin with, because you kind of encountered this without really knowing a lot about sports memorabilia back in in 1990, is that correct?
1989,
1989.
I went to Chicago on a vacation with my family, and I understood there was a sports national convention. I think it was like at a Holiday Inn in the basement. And as a kid, you know, I always liked Mickey Mantle. I had his bat, and I think like a lot of us, it helped to share our memories by collecting. And I went downstairs and I looked at all this stuff. And at that time, I didn't know that Ty Cobb was a ball player. I thought he might be a dress designer. You know, I was learning. And you know, as a kid, I was a second string on any athletic event. So, but I loved the sports industry and loved playing baseball. And I used to wrestle in school. So I was sort of a sports addict in a way. And when I went downstairs in the SBA, I had heard about Al Rosen and Bill Madison. And I was intimidated. I have to tell you, the first car I ever bought was a 1953 Mickey Mantle car, and it turned out it was trim. So I didn't get off to a great start, but I didn't give up as well. So it's kind of interesting that people now know who Al Rosen is because of the Mantle car being sold, and Bill Mastro, who really brought this from a hobby to a hobby that a real asset. And how that happened was, I remember walking downstairs, there was Bill Mastro, you know, and he was kind of a verbose type of guy, and Al Rosen, you know, she's a shouter. So I was going to go up and introduce myself to Bill Mastro. And I see that a little 12-year-old kid had put his fingerprints on the case. And Bill said, "Get your hands off the case. I don't want anything to do. You don't have any money. Get out of here." So I had nothing to do with those guys. You know, I was scared to death because I didn't know what I was doing. But I knew enough that I loved what I saw. And that launched me starting to collect before I had met David Hall and became the poster board for PSA around 1995.
Ruffles Ridge Twists. An airy twist on your favorite snack. Now in 2 legendary flavors. Smoky barbecue and double cheddar. Find both flavors today.
So what did you buy at that first national?
I bought the Mantle card, and I bought some Bowmans, 51, 52 Bowmans, and I didn't buy any memorabilia at that time because I didn't understand it. And so I probably spent, you know, back then, maybe $20,000, $25,000. And those days, it was above average expenditure. Sure. I was buying cards for $15, $25, $50. You could buy a Colfax rookie for, if I remember, $125. A Babe Ruth bat, $1,200. So that gives you an example of
things have changed.
Genesis of being at the beginning